Hey, what's up you guys? I didn't want to film a part 2 to this video until I had something that I was really fired up about that I wanted to rant to you guys about. And needless to say, since I'm here, I am very tightly wound about this topic. So today we're going to be doing part 2 of things J.K. Rowling doesn't understand about Slytherin. So it's kind of weird because this came about because somebody had commented on my part 1 video that over time the fandom for Harry Potter has just somehow unanimously decided that the real villain of the story isn't Voldemort and it's not Umbridge, it's actually J.K. Rowling herself. And at first when I saw that comment, I really laughed at it, and then I sat there and was like,
hello darkness, my old friend.
Oh my god, she's destroying my childhood. Why, Joe? Why? But that's not the point, because today we're not going to be talking about how every time I open up the Harry Potter books, I just cry on the inside, and I read and I'm just like,
hello darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk.
Instead, today we're going to talk about something that I didn't realize I got so riled up about until I started reading Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows again, and I was like mind blown. I don't know why this didn't upset me so much more before, and I don't know if you've guessed it, but what we're going to talk about today is when Dumbledore tells Snape, you know, sometimes I think we sort too soon. And I just am like, oh no, stop it, just, ugh. Sorry, that may have been a little bit dramatic, but it's actually how I feel, because you just think, just because Snape did something brave and he loved this woman doesn't mean that he should have been in Gryffindor. It really doesn't make any sense, because you just think, no, what Gryffindor qualities does Snape have? He's not brash. The man certainly thinks everything through. He's like a double, triple agent at like the end of the story, so he's not running into things like some crazy, you know, leap before you ever look, looking means nothing, I'm blind to any kind of dangerous Gryffindor. That's just ridiculous. Second, he wasn't like an emotionally fiery person. Yes, he had the stereotypical Slytherin kind of turbulent, moody personality, but he wasn't a fiery, very passionate, screaming about your emotions, hard on your sleeve Gryffindor, which seems like something maybe Dumbledore should have taken into account before he said this. Third, I want to say that Snape does have an intense Slytherin-like sense of self-preservation, even though he's double-crossing Voldemort. I mean, that's not great. You'll probably die, and he does when you're, you know, going about things as a spy with the Death Eaters. But my point is, I mean, he's not running out there courageously to save everybody. He's playing it smart. He's playing it cool. He's like, yeah, low-key bravery, not valiant, swinging my sword around, look at me bravery kind of thing. Fourth is kind of a play off of point number 3 with the whole he's a spy thing, is he's super cunning. The man's like playing 3-dimensional chess while everybody else is playing checkers, and it's just crazy that Dumbledore is like, you should have been a Gryffindor. It's no Dumbles, he shouldn't have been, because when other than Dumbledore have you seen a Gryffindor actually use cunning? Because I can count the times on my fingers. None. Never. I can't. Sometimes they've done something smart, like obviously Hermione's smart, she figured out the logic puzzle in book 1 and everything with the potions, but I wouldn't say she's cunning. She's just as dumb as Harry and Ron half the time, so no, Snape is definitely the king of cunning, like King Cobra. That's what Snape is. He's a snake. No arguing. Fifth is I hate when Rowling and other people say that the Sorting Hat only ever made like a handful of mistakes, and one was Peter Pettigrew and one was Severus Snape, because people are like, oh, Peter Pettigrew joined the Death Eaters, he was such a little slime face, he should have been in Slytherin, and Snape turned out to be brave, so he should have been in Gryffindor. No, let me rebut that right now. No, Peter Pettigrew didn't show any of the traits indicative to Slytherin. He wasn't really cunning. He wasn't ambitious, he was like a coattail rider. He saw Sirius, James, and to some extent Remus as these golden Gryffindor boys like the rest of the school did, and he latched onto them, but it wasn't like Peter had his own ambitions to do really well at anything. And then obviously turning that whole thing around that Snape should have been in Gryffindor is the entire purpose of this video, because it still just drives me crazy that people think this is a thing. Cause it's not. It's just not. It never will be. It isn't. It just straight up isn't. Like, why would you? Wonderful. So now that we have the thesis of this video out of the way and I gave you my kind of shaky 5 points built solely on my emotion towards this and not towards a lot of facts, because I'm not gonna go give you textual evidence. I don't feel like highlighting in my books or doing that much research. This is just a spur of the moment, let me get on my soapbox type deal. And now that I have laid out the thesis to this part 2 video, I wanted to discuss the actual meat of this discourse. And that is that somehow J.K. Rowling, despite having created the 4-house system at Hogwarts and coming up with what each of the houses value the most, doesn't seem to understand Slytherin. Why do I say this? It's because every time that we get a good guy character, they always seem to be in Gryffindor. I can't really think of a major character other than maybe Luna Lovegood from the Silver Trio that isn't in Gryffindor. She even came out and said Hagrid was a Gryffindor. And that's not me disparaging Hagrid, he's a cool guy, but the Super Carlin brothers actually made a really good video about why they think Hagrid was in Slytherin, and though I don't see Rubeus Hagrid as being particularly cunning, ambitious, or prideful, they really made a good argument about his link with Tom Riddle, which I will go ahead and put a link to the video down in the description down below so you can go and see that. But I think they made a really good point that J.K. Rowling just seems to assign people into Gryffindor if they're a good guy, regardless of if it really even makes sense. Second, she seems to play off of the idea that if you're in Slytherin, you must be a bad guy. Even at the Battle of Hogwarts, when we hear Professor McGonagall say that all the Slytherins have to go down to the dungeons, is just ridiculous, because you have to think that in Slytherin House, not everybody was a die-hard Voldemort Death Eater supporter. There were definitely some dissensions in the ranks. Given that, we even see Draco half the time in Half-Blood Prince, like, just panicked out of his little mind about everything that's going on. So he couldn't have been the only Slytherin feeling this pressure and maybe realizing that this wasn't something that they wanted to get into. Moreover, she seems to associate pride, cunning, ambition, traditionalism, and fraternity with just really negative aspects of human character, and instead of focusing on the fact that those are not always bad traits. Yeah, too much pride can lead to narcissism and an ego, kind of a megalomaniac problem like we've got with Voldemort, but disregarding that aspect of it, pride in yourself and the work that you do actually can help you get ahead in life, and it'll bring people's attention to your work and make them take you more seriously. If you say, look at what I've done this so well, I have the credentials to have done this, I really believe in this project in it, instead of being like, oh yeah, I made this, oh geez, what, oh just look at it. Like, nobody wants to look at the project or the work of a nervous Nelly. They want somebody who's gonna be like, yeah, I did a good job, look at this. Give me a raise, pay attention to me, promote me, make me Minister of Magic. Ambition's really not a negative trait. Trying to get ahead in life and doing better each time that you endeavor to do something, whether it be work or school or athletics, wanting to be the best and do the best and, you know, win that gold medal, get that promotion, get a new title, get a raise, those aren't bad traits. And yet, in the Harry Potter series, every time that we are shown prideful characters, we end up with like a Lucius Malfoy or a Draco Malfoy situation where they think that they are just the absolute best of the best. We're shown ambitious characters like Gellert Grindelwald, who was not a Slytherin, but obviously we're gonna just group him into this because of his ambition to rise to the top and try to subjugate the Muggles. And we have Voldemort, who had the ambition to be the greatest sorcerer of his age, and both of them turned into just like genocidal psychopaths. But what we don't get is a real hardcore focus on the fact that Snape too was ambitious. He was revising his potions textbooks at age 16. He was coming up with spells that people still use during the Harry Potter series when he was a kid, 20 years before the series even starts. it's like completely glossed over that he's a potions master. He's like one of the youngest professors at Hogwarts the majority of the series, except for when Lupin shows up, but still 90% of the series, he's like the youngest guy there. I mean, other than Lockhart, obviously, but he's like the youngest guy there. So you think he's been teaching for like ever, since right after the Wizarding War. So this guy was in his 20s, he was a potions master, and then he was head of Slytherin before he was even in his 30s. And you just think like, that required ambition. He didn't just get it handed to him. He was like this poor half-blood kid that the other Slytherins didn't even like. And he climbed his way up and became head of Slytherin, became a potions master. He was super, super smart. He was adept at pretty much like everything, although I'm gonna take a wild guess and say maybe transfigurations and charms weren't his thing. But still, guy worked hard. He was ambitious. Why is this a bad thing? So really what I wanted to impart for part 2 was that what J.K. Rowling doesn't seem to understand is that it's kind of insulting to the Slytherin contingent of this fandom to say, oh, Snape should have been in Gryffindor because he was brave. And it's like, hell yeah, he was brave, and hell yeah, he loved somebody, because Slytherins are not incapable of love. They can feel emotion like everybody else, and they have their moments of bravery, but it is more calculated bravery. It's not like brash stupidity. And I just think she just neglects to ever touch on any of that. So as I've been doing this video, it wasn't scripted. It's whatever came off the top of my head just based around this topic. But as I've been talking about it and borderline ranting, I realized that I'm gonna definitely have to do a part 3 because there's just so much. It's like a colossal failure on Rowling's part that she just kind of glossed over so much of what makes Slytherin House just so great. So thank you guys for watching part 2. I know it was a little long and it wasn't super structured. It was me just kind of getting upset about Dumbledore telling Snape that maybe he should have been a Gryffindor, because no, just no. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Comment in the comment section down below and tell me, are you a disgruntled Slytherin who's just raging against J.K. Rowling at this point, or are you from one of the other 3 houses and you think this video is absolutely ridiculous? One thing I will ask that you don't put in the comment sections are your thoughts and opinions on Snape, because I love him and you're not gonna change my opinion, and one thing I really don't care about reading is your comment, argument, flame war about my favorite character. So just like, just don't. But other than that, I would love to hear if you guys had any thoughts or opinions on this video or this topic, or other things that J.K. Rowling says that really piss you off. So thank you guys again for watching, and hopefully I'll have another one of these videos up sometime relatively soon. Bye guys.